Action.
Hi. Did you know that over 100,000 people are currently waiting to receive an organ? Every 10 minutes, a new patient is added to the waiting list. According to the Mayo Clinic, 20 patients every day die waiting for an organ. You could help save and improve the lives of over 75 people with just your one donation. In today's speech, I will be informing the audience about the problem of the organ shortage we have in this nation, how to register as an organ donor, as well as what the world would look like without an organ crisis, as well as 2 personal stories that help influence me on why I myself am an organ donor. Okay, so according to organdonor.org, more than 156 million Americans are signed up to be an organ donor. If we were to break it down in percentages, that's 60% of the US population, and that's an impressive number. It's very good, but it's not enough. As I previously stated, 20 people will still die every day waiting for an organ. The problem really took off and started in 1991. In 1991, the number of people waiting to receive an organ transplant was double the amount of donors and transplants combined. And the number has just been climbing. If I can just get the cameraman to step up, you can see this graph right here, I'll explain it. The pink equals the waiting list, as you can see. The blue equals the transplants performed, and the yellow equals the donors. The number on the waiting list has consistently been double the number of transplants and donors combined. Starting in 1991, it really took off, peaking in 2013 with 140,000 cases, starting to decline now. Okay? In 2019, 40,000 people received a new organ. There were about 112,000 people on the waiting list, meaning 72,000 people had to wait another year. Another year they may not have. Another year of hoping they'll get the second chance at life. So I'd like to move on with a personal story now. This one is a story about my Uncle Ronnie. He suffered from kidney failure for 10 years, and he actually receives a new kidney. So from the age of 18, he started suffering from kidney failure. My cousin Ronnie was really sickly as a kid, and it just really ganged up on him. His kidneys went kaput. So he got a call one night, random. This was 10 years later. He'd been on dialysis for 10 years. It was the hospital. The hospital was calling him saying they had his kidney ready and he needed to hurry up and go to the hospital like right then. So he did. And luckily, everything went off without a hitch. He has a perfect new kidney and he's been living life to the fullest ever since. Okay. So now that you understand the problem and you see how it affects everyday people, let's discuss the solution. Okay. So the solution to the crisis, what I found, was usually a twofold change that needs to happen. The first change would be to change the donation policy from an opt-in to an opt-out. Meaning that you would already be signed up as an organ donor from birth and that you would have to choose to not be an organ donor. Lastly, and the most controversial, would be to change the requirement to donate from being considered brain dead to also including persistent vegetative state. Now you may be wondering, what does persistent vegetative state mean? Well, essentially that would be someone who can't breathe on their own, is bedridden, has to have someone breathe for them, feed them, bathe them, and basically just a vegetable. The total number of cases where brain death was used and reported was 4%. Only 4% of cases are being used for donations. Including persistent vegetative state could triple this number. Okay, now that you understand the solution, let's discuss what the world would look like without an organ shortage. So 112,000 people wouldn't be on the brink of death, holding on to hope that one day they might get their second lease on life. Be a part of helping end the needless suffering of all these sick individuals. In conclusion, over 100,000 people need our help. The audience should do 2 things for me at the conclusion of this speech. 1, register to donate your organs at donatelifetexas.org. Second, lastly, write our Senator Ted Cruz to enact my 2-step action plan. You can reach him at cruz.senate.gov. Thank you for your time.